Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Looks over the middle, second guesses, fires, throws. Does he make the catch in the end zone? Yes! Touchdown! Oladipo to win it.
Another one! Another one! Huge hole! He's at the 30! He's gonna go! 10, 5, touchdown! Jonathan Taylor!
Worked out by Burke. Bounces into Cody. Puts it up. Scores!
Now, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, here's your host, Jim Coyle.
Welcome in. Hello, everybody. It is Wednesday, hump day, here at Indiana Sports Beat Radio. And it's also college football national signing day. Lots going on there to keep us busy, what I've been staring at and reading. So we'll be talking about that. Looking forward to Derrick Jackson joining us, former football player at IU, so he'll be on here. John, who else is on today?
We have a late edition. Mitchell Paige going to be joining us here during the second segment. Then we're also going to have our usual Scratch the Itch with Bob Kravitz and Rick Bozich.
Cannot wait. College football signing day, like I said, that's big. Indiana has, I've got to be honest with you, they're still getting it done. After the year they had, I've got to tell you, I'm surprised to see that they were able to keep it together like that they have, it seems, from a recruiting standpoint. You only lost Josh Hoover, and while that was a horrible loss or a bad loss to me, I think that that's more about the fact that Sonny Dykes became the head coach at TCU late and then started working that. Sonny Dykes has a reputation for developing quarterbacks. Guy named Jared Goff, NFL #1 pick. You may have heard of him, Coach Tim. Also, his offensive coordinator is a guy named, what's his first name? Garrett Riley. He's got a brother. His name's Lincoln. You may have heard of him. So that's probably a good reason for that. Then we see Michael Penix. He commits to Washington. No shocker there, because Kalen DeBoer says, oh, yeah, I'll take you. Because Kalen DeBoer knows what he can do with, but we'll see. Hope it works out for Michael Penix. But if it does, that is going to put a further stamp on Nick Sheridan's, I don't want to say ineptitude.
Well, did you know Nick Sheridan is the tight ends coach out there now too? At Washington?
At Washington?
Yeah.
I did not. So there you go.
He'll be a part of that success, not necessarily the quarterbacks, but he'll be on that staff.
That is amazing. I did not see that. When was that announced?
I think that was yesterday as well.
Yeah, I missed that. Damn. That's a Well, I think that Kalen feels a little bit responsible. But yeah, good for him. That's awesome to see. But yeah, today is college football signing day, and Indiana just, who is the kid that they just got from California? Oh yeah, he's a transfer from California. Defensively, they have really, Kevin Peoples, the D-line coach, the defensive line, they have been pulling them in. And Indiana has now landed California transfer defensive lineman J.H. Tevis. Tevis officially visited Indiana last week. In 20 career games at Cal, he totaled 60 tackles, 8.5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks. The past 12 games, Tevis totaled 37 tackles. So they're getting an experienced dude. 6'5", 283 tackles. 105 tackles for loss, 51 sacks, 4 pass breakups, 4 fumble recovers, and 6 fumbles, 4 quarterback hurries during his high school days. So defensively, yeah, they're piling it up, man. So good for them. Congratulations, Coach Peoples, making it happen. But you can go to thehoosier.com, and there is a on the boards, they'll have an active all day signing, as this will be going on all day long. Just early signing, not early signing day, but so the signings will be coming in throughout the day. You can go to thehoosier.com, like I said, and there's a hot board there in the boards that you can find to keep you up to date on what's going on, because it will be active and nonstop. Potential targets remaining for IU, I can tell you. Who they are. Of course, one, probably number one, the top one has got to be Tanner Bailey. He highlights the list of potential remaining targets for Indiana. He was in Bloomington last weekend, of course. He recent decommit from Oregon. He's a 4-star quarterback and has quickly become a high priority target for the Hoosiers after losing Michael Penix and Josh Hoover. But if Bailey were to sign with Indiana, it would be in the early signing period with all that momentum following his visit. If he doesn't sign now, I don't think he will. We'll see. Kids from Alabama. Let's see. Another defensive lineman. Okay, we can do that. We'll take a break, come back, and talk more about its early signing day and plenty more as Indiana gets ready to take on Notre Dame this weekend. Mitchell Paige joins us next. The great Mitchell Paige. Back with him right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Whether it's a celebration.
Morning, Mitch.
What's going on, y'all?
How you doing, brother?
Drinking
Good.
Indiana football Kool-Aid again.
I know it. Dude, they're back. They don't have a quarterback though, do they?
I
Not
don't
yet?
think they do
have,
yet, actually.
Not in my mind, they don't.
Yeah, they don't have anybody that's any good.
Even if
on the
they do
roster.
get that Tanner Bailey kid, he won't be ready to go on day one.
No.
Who's Tanner Bailey?
He's a 4-star dude that they're looking at now.
Decommitted.
Oh yeah.
Decommitted from Oregon.
Yeah.
Yeah, the more Josh Hoover, the reason they really lost him is because Indiana made no change at offensive line, I think. But B, Sonny Dykes is at TCU now, and he wasn't there that whole time. He coached Jared Goff, and his offensive coordinator is Lincoln Riley's brother.
Yeah, it's hard, especially once he had the season he had, to get a Texas kid out of Texas if you're not Ohio State.
Yeah,
Even Ohio State lost their Texas dude as he's transferring to Texas.
Yeah. I think that the college football world is just so hard.
college sports. It sucks now. It'll never
Terrible.
ever. But I mean, I knew that. What did people expect? I mean,
Yeah, I mean these kids are like Quinn Ewers. Okay, you're a good player, one of the best players in college or in high school football. It's a little different game in college. For you to transfer after 1 year, okay, CJ Stroud is at the Heisman. Great. Go be as good as CJ Stroud. Give yourself a chance. Don't
And
just
he made
everybody
$1 million
just flakes.
to sit on the bench at Ohio State.
Everybody is
There's an
just
NIL
so flaky. So flaky. It's the NFL.
All right, here we go.
Sports Beat Radio. We're now a part of the Rivals Network. TheHoosier.com is where you'll find complete coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, as well as coverage of the Big Ten. Simply go to TheHoosier.com and sign up. It's free. You can also catch Indiana Sports Beat Radio there each day at your convenience, or you can find it any place you podcast or on this station each weekday. If we're not on the station where you live, we should be. Ask for Indiana Sports Beat Radio.
This segment is brought to you by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back. Hope your day is going well as we're hitting the backside of the week. It's college football signing day. Mitch, do you remember that day for you?
Yeah,
Mitchell
it was very
Paige is with us.
uneventful. Very uneventful for me. I would have
Why
loved
is
to
that?
sign a piece of paper. Would have loved to sign a piece of paper, but
Where
had
did you
zero.
transfer? I don't remember. Oh, you it
I was
just
a
came as a
walk-on.
walk-on, right?
Yeah.
Um,
So nowadays with I was coming out at the start.
well, all right. Well, talk
kind of
about the
Twitter
moment
and
where
Instagram.
you were put on scholarship. Then
Oh, it's the best day of my life. We didn't do anything fancy like you see a lot of the reveals and stuff. I didn't get that. There was a group of us that got put on. Coach Wilson brought us down just in a team meeting. I had no idea it was coming. I was hopeful, and I knew it was about the time when they started announcing who was going to get it, and brought us down and went through a quick speech and basically just said, "You're on scholarship." And it was just that moment. I don't know. It was. I had put in so much thought. Everything I did was trying to get a scholarship. I didn't even care. This is probably not the right way to think, but I didn't even care about playing. I wanted my efforts to be noticed and appreciated, and that to me was through a scholarship. And to be able to earn that in a place that I loved so much was, I wouldn't trade it for the world. But I also, as a walk-on, I love these signing days because it's awesome for a kid that's in high school that, is probably the best player at his high school, wherever he is, in Indiana or even Texas or Florida. He's probably a really good player, but college is a little different animal. There's a lot more that goes into it. You can't get by with being bad in school, or there's a lot more on the line for these guys in Division I. So I always like to, if anybody's got a son that's playing or a kid in high school that's playing, I always like to be the little reminder that the game's just getting started. These kids have a head start, but that's about it.
Absolutely. Ross is some of our comments down here says that where was that? 5-star tackle, offensive tackle, Goodwin from Charlestown, Indiana. Well, first of all, there's a 5-star tackle from Charlestown. That is the most mind-boggling thing that I've ever known.
Yeah, Keonta Goodwin. He was. I don't know
I
if
don't even know
he's
where that
still
is.
committed to Kentucky. It's down towards Jeffersonville, and right across the river from Louisville.
It's in Clark County. It's in the same county as Jeffersonville, Jeffersonville, Clarksville. It's just further out in the county a little bit, but they have a 5-star offensive tackle. That blows my mind because they're not a very big school. They do not produce much talent.
For that, it's I'm sure this great kid, great family, but there's just no way to know. There's no way to know that this kid's any good. I'm sure he's done well at all the rivals, and I'm just using him as an example. Today, I think it's always an exciting day. In the past couple of days, even for me, I'm back on the ship. We're gonna win every game next year. I'm back, but it's always today's just a little blown out of proportion. There's so many players, and you never know who's gonna come out and be the star. Johnny Manziel was a 3-star. You get guys that every year are not the most highly recruited that turn out to be great players. Obviously, over the course of time, a lot of big numbers, getting higher stars is better for a program. Just look at an Alabama or an LSU. But it's just an interesting time. It's such an inexact science, this recruiting, and it's so hard to know.
Because bodies develop, people develop, all kinds of things develop. When they develop, you never know. And especially the sport of football, it is different than any other sport. That's why they mandate that you have to be in 3 years of college before you can think about going to the NFL. It's not going to the NBA, man. It's a different body thing. It's a whole different ballgame. And by grown man, I mean grown ass man.
Like, specimen, action figures.
Indiana obviously had a lot of problems last year. One of those was on the offensive line. Are you surprised? I'm shocked that they did not make a change there. And not that I'm ever a proponent of someone losing a job, but to me, that's the difference between in Indiana and Nebraska or a lot of these other schools, that they make the change. And some schools don't wait till the season's over. They make the change in season because they want things to happen now. Indiana doesn't do that very often, and obviously not a lot of change here, where I think there should be change. When you have the same offensive line back from a year before and their performance is as bad as it was, I think you have to make a change.
Yeah, I think it says one of two things. I was also very surprised that once they hired Walt Bell, that we haven't seen more turnover, that it's just been kind of quiet on that front, was surprising. But also, it may be more of a reflection that Coach Allen just didn't like what we were doing as a whole offense. Maybe it was the scheme that was coming down from the OC. Not to say anything bad about Sheridan. Happy for him that he's back with Kalen DeBoer, but there's one of two ways. One, we're not doing something right, or two, Coach Allen just really didn't believe in what Coach Sheridan was doing and thinks Hiller can still get the job done with this new guy. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know which answer it is. I hope it's the second one, but I'm very surprised that there haven't been moves at a couple coaching positions on offense, obviously.
Well, what on offense? Where else? Wide receiver, they suffered there. And it's the performances were just down, and it's the same with quarterback. I got to be honest. The performance across the board at quarterback was not good, and I think the decision to put Michael Penix in to start the start of the year was a horrible decision. He was not ready. He was not the same guy. He was not being coached like he was, and it was obviously a mess, but it was a mess that continued with each and every quarterback that went in there. So that says a lot right there to me. But it's not the only change. When a quarterback is running for his life all the time, and your running backs can't get anywhere, I don't understand a reason for that, for not making a change there. But it is what it is.
As we look back, I think Penix did give us probably the best chance to win. As we were going in week one, he was not good, but as we went through, neither was anybody else. So I can't fault him for throwing him out there against Iowa. But there were times when he just didn't look like he was comfortable. And that's kind of the name of the game for the whole season, is things just going on and on and on without somebody saying, hey, what the heck's going on? And kind of nip it in the bud, where some other places might have done that, or some past coaches might have done that. So sometimes too much, at least in my experience. But it was just a weird year. Things just kind of vomited on themselves. Like things went downhill, and then something else went bad, and then it got worse, and then it got worse. And by the end of the year, we were one of the worst teams in college football, and it wasn't even close.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm shocked to see the fall. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a fall that was just unbelievable, but it had a lot to do with coaching and preparation.
Yeah.
And this team was not prepared to take on the Big Ten, was not prepared to take on anyone, really. They barely beat Western Kentucky. All right, so
That was a
enough of
great
that
win,
bashing.
though. We need to
Go
talk
ahead.
about that, because I said that right after the Western Kentucky game, and you and John both, John, you can hear me, were telling me that was, Western Kentucky, blah, 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 blah. That kid,
What did I
Western
say?
Kentucky-
I missed the beginning of your comment. What are you claiming I
Yeah.
said?
That Western Kentucky game was a huge win. That was going to be a huge win no matter where we went for the rest of the year. That was a really good win. That quarterback finished with like 6 touchdowns.
And that's
Led the
crazy
league-
because a
or
lot of
led the
people
country in
didn't
passing yards.
realize how good or not good he necessarily was going to be Bailey Zappi, but just that offense and WKU in general.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you did call us on that one, yeah.
I'm telling you, that was a good win to go in there, especially as we look back now with the tools that we lacked. That was a great win.
And
But
that's another
having
reason
that
you got to
season's over.
stop scheduling these games against a group of 5 opponents on the road. I understand Indiana's not the only
Yeah.
Power 5 team that does that, but when you're trying to become, and we've talked about this before, when you're trying to become something more than the cellar dweller of the Big Ten, you can't schedule road games against a group of 5 opponents. You just can't do that.
Unless it's like a Cincinnati. Like,
Now, Cincinnati's different, though. They're jumping to
that's
the Big
what I
12.
mean. Yeah.
They
like
have that.
Going,
They have to go. Now, see, this year they have to go to Cincinnati next year.
Yeah.
A depleted
In
Cincinnati,
addition-
though. I'm pretty sure they're losing a whole lot of what they have.
Yeah.
Well, they
cross
should
your
have beat them
fingers.
this year. Don't get me started on Cincinnati. I'm still not on Cincinnati being in the top 4. I'm sorry. They're not one of the best. They're not one of the top 4 teams in the country. If they are, then college football sucks this year.
Imagine if Cincinnati's able to pull it off, and it's all because Indiana couldn't take care of business in week 2.
Yeah, I don't want to think about that world. But last thing I'll say about the group of 5 that I think is so strange. You schedule at Western Kentucky against a team that's really good and has been good for a long time. They're one of the best teams that I played when I was in Indiana. They spread the ball around like it was nothing. We didn't have the best defenses when I was there, but it was just through a goose. It was incredible. Those guys were really, really good. So you go to Western Kentucky, a team that's been really good for a long time, and you win. But now everybody's like, oh, it was just Western Kentucky, and they don't understand how good of a win that was. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It's a lose-lose. If you lose, huge loss. And if you win, nobody thinks it was a good win. So I don't understand, and maybe it's a money thing or whatever it is. I don't know. But I thought that was the weirdest game on the schedule by far, obviously. It was just weird.
Some of the commits, James Mons to Indiana.
Saw that.
That's a good one.
Yes, sir.
That's a good one from Fort Pierce, Florida. Very good one.
We got little young McCullough.
Oh yeah. Oh well, not only
I
that,
remember.
and you got young Mullen.
Mullen as well. Yeah. I just remember those McCullough kids running around at practice. All of
Really?
a sudden, they're all 4-star athletes. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I forgot when he was here the first time.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're running around tackling each other after practice. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Coach McCullough's kids. And now they're just all 6'4".
Sean Shivers, that was a great pickup from Auburn, running back.
Oh, I love
helps
that.
out.
That guy's a beast.
Travell Mullen, like him said, mentioned him from Coconut Creek, Florida, brother of Taiwan, 6
Yeah.
foot, 146 pounds.
What?
146 pounds has got him listed as. That
What
dude
position
is that's
is
He's gonna have a
he's
long
a-
first
he's a-
year drinking protein shakes.
He's a DB, man. He better start eating the crap out of anything he can eat right now because he needs to put on about 40 pounds.
A million.
I'm seriously, he's got to put on 40 pounds.
Yeah, that's light. That's what I weighed when I got there, and that's a little less than I weighed when I got there, but I was 5'5".
Yeah, that's 20 pounds less than I was as a senior in high school.
Yeah.
I'm like, woo. And I thought I was skinny. So, Deshaun McCullough, of course, another commitment that Indiana's getting, 6'5", 230-pound outside linebacker who shined at Bloomington South this year. Bradley Jennings coming over from the U, outside linebacker.
Yeah. Is his brother the one at Maryland? I think his brother was a 5-star player.
Yeah, Brandon Jennings, and he's in the transfer portal. He took a visit to Indiana as well.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be cool to get a couple of brothers in there. But the recruiting, though, I'm shocked that they're doing as well as they are, Mitchell. After the season they had, they didn't really lose anybody other than Josh Hoover. And like I said, I think that had more to do with Sonny Dykes and Garrett Riley than anything. But yeah, man.
I thought we were going to get the Caden Curry kid from Center Grove.
I did.
Kyle Niedenrep just posted a story. It was about an hour ago. But Caden Curry, he asked Caden about what was the hardest part about the whole process, and he said saying no to IU. So we were closer than we thought.
It's almost like because of the season they had, he just had to say no. He didn't want to, but he knew it wasn't going to work for him, at least in his mind.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
I truly feel like I can just, and the whole program, fans, just wash your hands of that season. We're off. We're done. This is as much momentum in recruiting as I've probably ever seen. Coach Allen had that celebration tweet just on repeat the last couple of days. It was incredible. I couldn't even keep up. Usually I'm pretty good at it. I have no idea who they even have committed just because there were so many of them.
Yeah, Caden Curry, that would have been a great get for Indiana. That would have been incredible with the seasons that they've had, but didn't happen. But they're doing okay. Like I said, Indiana is not going to, in this day and age of NIL and all that, Indiana is not going to compete against Michigan and Ohio States and the Penn States of the world. They're just not. Not with the NIL. I'm sorry. Ohio State, their fans, they care about football like you can't believe. So, all right, let's go to break. We'll take a quick break. Back with more Indiana Sports Beat. Was Mitchell going to be with us?
DJ's here too, regardless.
Okay, great. We're back with more. Hey, let's have these two guys talk. Looking forward to it. TJ's with us, joins us next. Indiana Sports Beat Radio back right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
The pro and college football.
Have you guys met?
I don't think so.
What's your name, man?
I'm Mitchell Paige.
Oh, okay. Hey, I'm Derrick Jackson, man. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. How are you? Talking a little
good.
Football.
Yeah, I know. I was just caught the tail end of the conversation, and guys were saying that you don't think Indiana would be able to compete with a Penn State. Actually, Jim was saying Penn State or Michigan when it comes to NIL. But I tell you, man, I and I understand, like you said, this is, the fans, they do care about their football players, but I beg to differ. I think things are going to change. I think the transfer portal, again, I'm not a proponent of it, but it is what it is. And I think that this day and age, I think things are going to happen for Indiana football, much like they happened back in the Bill Mallory days. I'm a Bill Mallory era player, so I'm going to be obviously supportive of that. But you know,
that's the pinnacle of the program, man. So we defer to you.
Yeah. We listen, man. We've got to do a better job, you know, of getting 4- and 5-star athletes. That's what we've got to do a better job of doing. When we back then, I mean, we get someone like Anthony Thompson that was recruited by Florida State too. He comes to Indiana. We've got to get those type of players into our program. And I think by Mullen have made a great decision to come back. Proud to see that guy come back. DJ Matthews, I think, should be back. And then I think is it Lane? I believe that's his last name. He decided.
Lane. Yep.
Yeah. He decided to come back as well. So I think you're going to see a difference, but we have to shore up our offensive line because it starts in the trenches. If we don't do it there, then it's not going to happen.
100%.
Save your fire for when we're on the air, DJ.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll
always got
I'll
fire. What you talking about?
Yeah. Little background on what we were talking earlier. I'm I don't want to say shocked, but very surprised that after they hired the new OC, that there haven't been more changes to the staff on the offensive side of them. Him bringing in his own
after
guys.
signing day's over.
I'm sorry.
Maybe. Yeah, I guess I didn't think about that. You want to show like
wait till I get these guys in here.
Get the guys signed first
30
and
seconds.
then make the changes.
Good strategy. Yeah. And maybe
great.
Jim could tell us. Jim, you could probably tell us what happened with Josh Hoover. Didn't he decommit from Indiana?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can start with that. Here we go. Coming back.
0% APR financing over 48 months and $0 down. Get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back. It is Hump Day, and it is the start of college football early signing day, and there's going to be a lot going on there. We will get to that. Also, before I forget, the big news for Indiana basketball. How about the home and home with Kansas? Big news there, man. You're going to have a game at Assembly Hall with Kansas and Fog Allen with Indiana. That's how it should be. Yep. I mean, it is going to be nuts in both of those arenas, both of those times. It's going to be pandemonium, and that's how it should be when a blue blood is playing a blue blood someplace. Some people don't want to go do that. Some teams don't want to leave their friendly confines of home because they get
Not to
their
name
ass
any
handed
names.
to them. Not to name any names. Congratulations, Notre Dame. But yeah. So
did you see that video that the media department put out? The video about it when they released it. Oh man, that was.
How good are they?
Give them big Christmas bonus for that. I would have goosebumps for however long that thing is. I was fired up. It was awesome.
I wish I could find that.
And I think Indiana's in such a good spot in basketball. They're just getting better and better, and they might be in a really good place next year when they go to Kansas.
Is that on Twitter?
Yeah.
Man, I need to get that pulled up. I want to see that again. Yeah, they're going to be in a better spot next year. Where would Kansas be? Because we saw the NCAA hand down punishment to Auburn, which was a slap on a finger, not even a slap on a wrist. It was to Bruce Pearl, and the school. They did not get put on probation again. I mean, they did not get a postseason ban again because they self-imposed one. But Kansas is another beast. I think they're going to get hammered a little bit, man. So we'll have to see how those games play out. I mean, they're still going to have the games, but Kansas may not have anything to play for.
fine with me. Go beat the crap out of them and go home.
That's it. We got some key opponents coming up though at home. I'm looking at Michigan. We got Michigan at home. This is down the road. People like Michigan, Ohio State at home, and then we also have. Let me see. Well, we go to Penn State, but then we have Purdue at home, which is that. These are future opponents, but we have some very, very credible opponents coming into Assembly Hall, which gives us a significant advantage and a leg up, I think, in the Big Ten, if you ask me.
Well, the good thing is they don't have to go to a certain couple places. I don't think they go to Illinois this year.
No, they don't.
And I don't think they go to Michigan State.
Which they do.
This is not well good because Michigan State is not that good. Maybe it's Michigan they don't go to.
No, they don't go to Michigan. Michigan comes to see us in Assembly Hall.
See, that's a nice advantage. You got Michigan that you do not have to go play on the road. You only get them at home, and Illinois, same deal. So that's a good deal for that. So looking forward to that.
We're currently seventh help me out with this, Jim. We're currently seventh in the Big Ten, but we're 7-2. So who is ahead of us in the Big Ten? I'm not up to speed on that. Who's ahead of us in the Big Ten? Purdue, obviously.
Oh, and the standings right now?
Right.
Yeah, I think Purdue's tied with us because they're 1-1. There's only been 2 games, so some teams I guess are 2-0. 6 teams 2-0, couple 1-1, and then 0-2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, just I was looking for. I'll have to find that later. But yeah, great that series with Kansas though. That's a good start. Indiana used to play those kinds of games, and they need to get back to that. I mean, those December games were always fun, but Indiana was always competitive. So getting back to there. So looking forward to that.
And I think that changes a lot with how they are taking into account resumes for the NCAA tournament. When you look at the quad wins, quad 1, 2, 3, 4, and how vital quad 1 wins are, that can be the difference of 4 or 5 seeds if you've got a couple really good quad 1 wins, and you got to play those games to get those wins. So it's I think that's been one of, we were talking about NIL and transfer portal, whatever you want to talk about with that, I think for college sports, but tournament and promoted a lot of these preseason tournaments. Just unbelievable to match up.
Your sound's cutting out for some reason, but just upgrading the basketball schedule is going to help Indiana because playing Merrimack's and all that only goes so far. So you have got to start stretching yourself. But Mike Woodson knows that he had nothing to do with how this schedule had been put together. That was previous regime. So those changes are taking place now. He's working on trying to get games up in Madison Square Garden as well. So that'll be a blast if that can happen. So looking forward to that. But we're in the midst of college basketball. Indiana a break this week for finals. It's finals week, Mitchell. You remember that, I'm sure. Both of you.
Yeah. Remember that. Yeah. I mean, during this time of the season, I know when we were playing, I think the first year was All-American Bowl. So I was in Bloomington. I didn't go home. We, for whatever reason, I had this idea in mind that I got more money for staying in Bloomington than I did for coming home because if we couldn't go home, they would give us a per diem per day. Plus we had a room. So back then, I think it was something like, you get like maybe $80 per day. And I'm walking away, man, with a nice little chunk of change for a college student. And I didn't have to go home. So I wasn't going to eat $80 a day of food.
Yeah, Indiana continue to bring them in. I'm looking at some more signings coming in as that will happen throughout the day. So go to thehoosier.com and keep up on all of that if you want to keep up on who's coming and who's going. So we've got that going for you. College football kind of not over, but in that waiting period now with the bowl season coming around. The NFL is taking over on Saturdays. So we don't have any college football for a while, which kind of stinks. But the Big Ten, how about Michigan? The resurgence of Michigan, Mitchell. Of course, Ohio State is not standing pat. They've gone out and hired the top defensive coordinator in the country to go along. Now they have Kevin Wilson, they have Jim Knowles, who's the top DB, and then they have Ryan Day. So they have a pyramid of coaches that is unbelievable. And that's kind of what I was alluding to with Indiana not making any moves. I'm like, man, they go out and make big moves. And
it's two different ways to skin the cat. I think it's at Ohio State, you're expected, like, you lose 2 games and the fans want you to blow things up. And I think you get a little more leeway at Indiana, whether that's good or bad. I don't want to say, but it goes back to what I was saying earlier, where it's one of 2 things. One, they're waiting way too long and they need to make a change. 2, maybe Coach Allen just really didn't like the way Sheridan was running things, and he still believes in Hiller and convinced Walt Bell to keep him. But I think you made a really interesting point. I don't know if that was during break or right when we started, but holding on signing day, getting kids in, showing a put-together coaching staff, same guy you've been talking to, and then making changes post this signing day as you start to get into the spring and you've got kind of a full schedule still ahead of you. They have to move quicker. They put themselves in a little time crunch probably, but maybe they were waiting for the end of signing day. And I'm not sure what you think about that, but maybe.
Yeah, I don't think so at this juncture now. I thought that was a possibility before. I don't think it is now. I don't think that there will be any more changes. I really don't. So I think that they're going to hope that the joys of the recruiting will help people forget about it and go on as they're having a decent recruiting class. They get this kid, Brody Foley, to flip from Tennessee at tight end. That's a nice, it's a great job.
Yeah,
it's a great job with the situation where Indiana is. That's a hell of a job. I'm really surprised. Now they've done most of their damage on defense, guys. I think they haven't killed it on offense, but what they have done, I'm really surprised. I think they're doing a good job with what the season that they came off of.
Well, the key piece, man, I'm telling you, we're going to have to replace Michael McFadden. It's going to be very hard, but we're going to have to replace Michael McFadden. And then the other thing with the changes, I think part of me agrees with Mitchell when he says that, holding on to the same faces, helps. But then again, too, sometimes you got to think outside the box, man. We don't have the money to get these assistants like other programs do. And that's where part of the problem is too. We've got it. It's not just about the players. We need coaches that have resumes that these players can that they can collaborate with. Oh yeah, you're with a coach that was at Western Kentucky, then you got a head coaching job at Notre Dame, and you had a 10-1 season. Now you're a defense coach. Okay, yeah, I think I want to go and play in this guy's program. My good friend, former high school teammate, Deion Sanders, HBCU. I'm telling you guys, I'm telling you right now, the name resonates with these players, not just the program.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, we're seeing kids go there that should be playing at LSU, that are taking official visits to Jackson State to go hang out with Deion. And in a world where it's totally about Instagram and Twitter and how big is your brand, who knows about Walt Bell? It sounds like he's had some good success, but it certainly isn't a name that you go, oh, wow. And Indiana probably has to do that because of the money and the budget, but
right. You're right.
It was not a splash hire. So I think at this point as a fan now, we're just kind of sitting and hoping. Who knows? God, I would have loved to see Deion running around on Indiana's sidelines. Whew. That'd be unbelievable.
I tell you what, buddy, I'm gonna tell you something right now. It ain't no telling where you're gonna see him at Jackson State for at least 2 years because Shador has 2 years.
Yeah.
Now, when Shador and Shiloh leaves, that's when Deion's going. I'm telling you right now, he's going to land a Power 5 school. And guys, let's stop thinking just Florida State. It could be anywhere in any Power 5 school. But you and I know best. We know the same thing. They're going to have to pay this guy, and they're going to have to pay him some big money.
Do you think he has the motivation to go out and recruit kids? I swear, he gets to coach his son, which is obviously a huge motivation. But once his son is gone, having to go in as Deion Sanders and recruit and talk to boosters and everything that comes with being a head coach at any Power 5 school, from don't want to use Indiana as the bad one here, but Indiana, who historically hasn't been great, all the way up to an Alabama or an LSU, where they've just been dominant. You have these duties to boosters and to the school. I just can't imagine that he would want to do that. He's got the money. He doesn't need the money. Why wouldn't he want to stay somewhere like Jackson State, where he's created this excitement, get 50,000 people to the game? He's doing something that he really likes to do, and it's not under the lights all the time. I just think he'd be best suited to stay there and hang out.
You got to understand one thing about Coach Prime. He's all about progress and moving forward, and all about proving the critics and the people wrong. He's all about why not me. So when this guy, listen, I'm telling you right now, you know, I'm going to go ahead and put him in the same conversation even right now with Nick Saban. Nick Saban does not have to really go on the road. Once a recruit hears Nick Saban, either you're going to sign or you're not, and then Nick Saban's coming to see you. When they hear about Deion Sanders, it's like, okay, listen, Coach Prime, listen, we already know who this guy is. Oh, we're coming, because guess what's going to happen? Jim and Mitchell, in the spring? Do you know he would be inundated with NFL scouts on that campus? Like no other. Okay, that's what these kids want. You got to give these kids an incentive to come to your institution. But start with education, start with the athletic program, and then it helps when you have the brand, a coach that comes with a brand. You got to have that, man. And sometimes you got to go out and you got to pay these guys, man. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess I wasn't thinking about that, I guess, from that perspective, because he doesn't have to prove. He spent his whole life. He is.
Got no proof, man.
Yeah, you don't want to come play for Deion Sanders? Okay, well, you're great.
You're great. Yeah, that's
We got to take a quick break. You're listening to Indiana Sports Speed Radio. Derrick Jackson's with us and Mitchell Paige. It's college football signing day. We've got that, plenty more coming up here. Back right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
If you're in the market,
man,
Hey,
I'm
Mitchell,
even
not sure how long you have, but you're welcome to stay as long as you want, obviously.
Yeah, I may have to bounce, but Derrick, it was awesome to talk to you, man.
Awesome talking to you too, man. I look forward to seeing you again, Mitchell.
Absolutely. Jim, you're the bomb. John, you're all right.
love you, brother. We got to get you up here.
Yeah.
See you guys.
When you coming up? Well, he's gone.
I'll be back up, Jim. I'm coming to a basketball game. I'm headed up to Atlanta this week, obviously, to the Celebration Bowl. It's going to be huge. It's sold out. Can you believe it, man? The game is sold out, brother.
Where are they playing?
Which
at?
game?
The Superdome?
In Atlanta, Celebration Bowl, man. In Atlanta this weekend. Jackson State. December 18th, my man.
Wow.
Oh, holy cow.
Yeah, man, in Atlanta, man, it's huge. Man, it is sold out. The game is sold out.
Is that the first time that's sold out before?
The first time it's ever been sold out. They play South Carolina State, man, and Jackson State in the Celebration Bowl. It is sold out, brother. I'm headed out tomorrow.
Wow.
Yes, sir. I wish I had Jim's credentials, man. I try to cover the game, but I ain't got Jim's credentials. They don't know who I am.
Man, we probably could have got you credentialed.
Woo, I wish I could get them credentials, man. I tell you, that's going to be huge, man. I'm just going to enjoy sitting back watching this game and see the record number of people, man, that'll be there. So, yeah.
Is that the Superdome you said?
Yeah, in Atlanta.
Oh, Atlanta. The Mercedes.
The Mercedes Benz. I know the Superdome's also Mercedes Benz, but
yeah, exactly. It's the same thing. But yeah, man, it's gonna be huge, man. It's gonna be huge. So yeah, man, and I'm still working up. I'm working with. I mean, I've been in contact with Anthony. He's talked to me, man. The schedule's just been so crazy, man. We're gonna get him on.
Like I said, if you get that done, that's gonna be. He does not do interviews, and you get that done. You've gotten something done.
You've already got. Don't make it.
I know how hard it is.
You've done a lot for us.
No. I'm saying I know how hard that getting AT is. I have been trying, so I know how hard it is.
Yeah, we'll get it, man. We'll get it, Jim. Don't even worry about it, brother. It might not happen until in January, but we'll get it, man. Because he has been when I correspond with him, say, DJ, I promise you, man, I'm gonna get on there. I said, okay, I already know it. He's kind of shy. He's always been shy like that, but he'll get on there, man. He'll get there.
Right.
We just need more.
Jim, make sure your phone's on, by the way. I'm not sure your texts are going off like normal. Make sure your notifications are on, just so I don't have to, so it's easier to communicate with you between breaks.
It was the volume was turned down.
All right. Here we go.
0961. Cheryl Sizemore from Remax Advanced Realty. Let Cheryl Sizemore get you in the home you want today. Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com.
This segment is brought to you by Aurora Specialty Sleep Clinic. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back. It is Wednesday. I hope you're having a great hump day. Derrick Jackson joined me as usual on Wednesday. It is college football signing day, so we were talking a lot about that. Indiana having a particular good signing. This is, Derrick, I think this is still, even though they lost Josh Hoover, is going to turn out to be, and you can't count these transfers, but I still think this is going to be one of Indiana's top, if not their best class ever, which is kind of mind-boggling.
Yeah, I see it being unprecedented. But here's the thing. At the end of the day, we have to turn these signing days into a winning record. We have to turn these guys that we signed. Some of these guys, I think the coaches are going to have to take a chance on these players after they prove themselves. You're going to have to put some of these guys on the field. It's like I said, right now, in my opinion, with McCulley, we win. With a good spring up under his belt with McCulley, we will win with him. That's the guy that I need. And as I alluded to earlier, we've got to have protection around this guy. We've got to shore up the offensive line. We know that, we would need another O-line coach or whatever you want to do. I don't care what has to happen, but we've got to get some people, a supporting cast around this guy if we are going to take it to the next step and start winning football games. That's where we're going to compete, when we win in the trenches.
You got that right. Defensive line, they've been adding a lot. Michigan State adds, there was a shooting down in Oxford, and they add one of the victims as an honorary player to their recruiting class. Wow. Tate Meyer was a 2023 football player at Oxford High School and was one of 40 students who were shot and killed on November 30th. In the video, Tucker says that Meyer had a passion to one day play at Michigan State, and they recognized his whole heroism in that event, so made him an honorary member. That was a tragic deal there. But yep, Mel Tucker obviously doing a good job at Michigan State with the gigantic contract. Lots of news. COVID is kind of coming back. The Browns coach, Kevin Stefanski, he tests positive. Was it OBJ and he positive? I think I saw that. You got Steph Curry passes the NBA's all-time 3-point record, man. Almost happened. It almost happened in Indianapolis, but he went 5 for 15 there.
Right.
Couldn't get it done, but he does it the next night instead in New York of all places. Kind of cool. of where that should take place. But
he did, man. Did it early on in the game too.
Yep, 7 minutes and 33 seconds left in the first quarter. He didn't take long. Like I said, he was just a couple short at Indiana. Drained a 28-footer from the right wing. So there you go. He is the three-point king, but that's no shock.
Right.
We've been watching him knock those down.
We picked up an interesting recruit from a JUCO. I think his name is Cameron Camper. He's
at the wide receiver.
Yeah. And I think that's going to be very key with Freifogel being gone this year, and then obviously last year when the other receiver left, and then DJ Matthews getting hurt. So we're going to need somebody that's generally healthy. Again, when I talk about that supporting cast, we're going to need somebody out on the perimeter. And I think now Stephen Carr's done, right? He's done. He was one and done here at Indiana. This was his final season, correct?
Yeah, he's out of eligibility.
Yeah, he's out of eligibility. But then we picked the other back. I think it's Poindexter. I was surprised that he left. Is it Poindexter's his name?
Yeah. Running back, walk-on running back. Yeah, I was a little surprised there as well. The running backs room has just cleared out, but you've got Delon McCullough in there, so he should be able to find the talent that he needs. Especially I think that's going to make getting transfers a lot easier out of the portal when you've got a guy like him. But I would also think the recruiting would be good that you could bring him in. So we'll see what he can do in his second year as far as bringing in talent. Indiana hasn't landed as far as landing a running back. They haven't landed that guy here recently. You know what I mean? And kept him from the word go, from freshman up.
No. We did pick up Sean Silvers from Auburn, though. We picked him up in the portal. I think Sean Silvers, he was pretty huge down this way, and he's coming out of Auburn. He come with some okay credentials, but we did pick him up, though.
Jamari Sharp, a defensive back out of Miami, Florida. Indiana picked up. You've got DJ Moore from Fort Wayne, offensive guard. Fort Wayne is the offensive lineman producing city in this state. I think that Indiana probably has more offensive linemen from Fort Wayne than any other state in the country. Right.
You're right. You're right about that. That's where they come from. That's exactly where they come from. And it's exciting to see things like that happen because I told you, and I've said it 3 times, that's going to be the key. I mean, we're picking up skill position players left and right, transfer portal, JUCO, whatever you want to call it. And I'm very excited about, Travell Mullins coming in. But again, guys, we've got to win now. I don't care who we pick up, where we pick them up from, what their credentials were, just like with the guy at Auburn. I mean, Sean Silvers come with great credentials. He's a Florida guy. But listen, man, we need those numbers here at Indiana. We need it this season. And we need for that O-line to help get that kind of, we need to stop getting in third and long situations and then running dive plays. I mean, who does that? You know what I'm saying? Or you get your quarterback, you get him out, you get a third string quarterback out of the pocket and you put pressure on him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the guy's going to either throw a pick or he's going to fumble or something bad's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? We can't do that, guys. We just cannot do that and win.
One thing we have not talked about, I meant to do this with Mitchell Paige, daggone it, while we had him on, but the new offensive coordinator, Walt Bell, and his thoughts on him. I've remained very neutral, and that's very unlike me. I'm one way or the other, always. I don't have a feel for Walt Bell. So there's no point in me saying something that would be just contrived. I don't know. I'm not going to hold his 2-23 record at UConn against him. It stunk up there, and being a head coach sometimes is not for everybody. but he has to win. He has to develop these quarterbacks. These quarterbacks have not been developed, did not develop under the last 2 years. So you have to develop a quarterback, and you have to develop an offense that works. The tempo was too slow. Everything was just too slow last year, and I think that was a big part of the problem. But I think Indiana has it. Well, they have a chance to do nothing but go up. That's another thing. DJ, well, you only get to go up.
Well, I tell you, supportive. I'm gonna say what I have to say about that. Supportive, but not impressed. When you are, numbers don't lie. You're 2-23. Yes, you're a head coach, but at some point, when things are not working, when do you start calling offensive plays if you're an offensive minded guy and you still go 2-23? I mean,
I don't know. There's a lot of I don't know. There could have been other scenarios there. I don't know. But it is what it is. So he's the offensive coordinator, and I think he's had some success in other places. Done a good job with the passing games in some places. So I think he'll be fine as an OC. But being fine and being great are two different things. You're not always going to get a Kalen DeBoer, obviously. Look at Kalen. He was here a short time. Boom, he's already off being a successful head coach. He's already gotten one job and quickly moved on because he was successful there. And I think that will continue to happen. And congratulations to him. I'm going to be pulling for Washington.
Well, me too. Hey, they got Mike Penix Jr. up there. Great decision. And I'm going to tell you something. I say this and I say it again. This, guys, people that are listening, this is Big Ten football. Okay. I don't care how you size it up. You have to win in the trenches. I don't care if you're Walt Bell. I don't care if you're Jesus Christ. You got to win in the Big Ten, and you got to win now. So that's where it stands right there.
It'll be curious to see how Michael Penix does out in Washington, because they have a couple of quarterbacks there, one of which I believe is the son of Brock Heward, former Washington quarterback and ABC analyst. I thought I saw on there. So that's you got that going. So I think if anybody can do it, Kalen DeBoer can get that done.
Mm-hmm.
What's going to happen in the Big Ten? Who changes in the Big Ten? Who this signing day? Who comes out? Scott Frost and Nebraska. They have to keep hitting things. What does Purdue get done? It's going to be interesting to see how the Big Ten as a whole comes out. Who does what? We know Ohio State is going to do well. They have the number one class in the Big Ten. Michigan is going to be right behind them. Penn State. So interesting to see how this turns out tomorrow.
Yeah, I think the mentality and the attitude of an Ohio State and a Michigan, and it's much like, or it's contradictory to what Coach Mallory taught us. That's why we were winning. These schools, they look past Indiana, Minnesota, Nebraska, Iowa, Purdue. They look past all these other schools, and in these kids' minds, here's what they preach. They preach Ohio State. When Jim Harbaugh goes in somebody's living room, they preach Ohio State. When Brian Day goes in somebody's living room, they preach Michigan. When Coach Mallory sat down in my living room, he started with number one opponent and he finished up with Purdue. He talked about all 10. So he was saying, listen, our focus is game by game. They look past it Indiana, and they look past it Illinois, and they look past Nebraska, and that's where they're going to make their mistake, in my opinion.
We will certainly find out. Looking forward to who benefits the most throughout the Big Ten. What does Michigan do? Can they keep up with Ohio State? As we know, they're going to try to catapult off of the success that they've had this season, going to a bowl game, not only to a bowl game, going to the college football playoffs. Michigan has as good a chance to win the national championship as anybody.
Yeah, they do.
Their defense is for real.
You're right. They do. I'm excited about Michigan. I mean, it's our competitor in the Big Ten, but it's representative of the Big Ten. And, everybody knows my distaste for Purdue and Ohio State. I put them in the same class, but I'm going to tell you something, man. I'm pulling for Michigan here in this college football playoff series. I'm pulling for Michigan, guys. Go blue.
Well, we got to take another break. You're listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Derrick Jackson's joining me. It's college football signing day. You got a lot of that going on. Plenty more. Back with it right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Whether it's a celebration.
We're paying Walt Bell a lot of money. He better get something done. To the
He's
tune
getting
of
paid
nine.
more than Nick Sheridan.
Huh?
He'll be getting paid more than Sheridan did.
Yep, that's what I'm saying. He's getting paid.
What was
man,
that?
now.
$750?
And Sheridan was, I think, $500,000.
Yeah, well.
Oh, Sheridan was $5.
How much is Bell getting?
I think
Look
it's
like
700.
700. I see 937.
Really?
That's what I see.
Maybe I missed
Now maybe that was. Well, you know what? I think that's representative from his buyout as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
He had a buyout?
Yeah.
Well, because he got picked up.
Yep.
Part of his contract after he got fired was they wouldn't have to pay him so much if he got another job, and he did, obviously, being Indiana's offensive coordinator.
Yep, he got 100% of it too, man, of his remaining compensation.
Jim, while we have 2 minutes still, and I know Rick's already here, I know you usually go long with him and Bob. Since we already took those early breaks, you don't have to worry about taking that break. At 10:30, we'll take that last break, and then you'll have a few minutes when we come back to finish up.
So what are you telling me?
I'm telling you, you don't have to worry about. Normally, I get on you for not taking a break during.
Just tell me when the next break is.
10:30.
Perfect.
There you go.
Hey guys, I'm out at 10 anyway. I'll bow out now. But listen, Rick, man, it's good to see you. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Derrick?
Good, man. I'm gonna get up there for a basketball game. Jim, I'm letting you know when I'm coming up. I'm gonna be here next Wednesday, just like we next Wednesday. Next week is Christmas, right? We're gonna be on the air next week, right?
Yep.
Well,
we're gonna.
Yeah, man.
We haven't talked about what we're gonna do for sure, but we may be. I mean, we'll be fine for your day.
We will on Wednesday for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll be good for Wednesday.
Okay. I'll see you guys. Thanks a lot, man. And I'm gonna keep working on that. And I'll see you guys next week. Okay.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. No problem.
Where does he live in Florida?
Oh man, John.
I thought it was Orlando, but I could be way off on that. Maybe it's Tampa.
It's not Orlando. I think it is the Tampa area.
Is he connected to
All
the
those
program
guys.
much?
No, he's doing this show. He's kind of gotten. I've seen his social media presence now.
Yeah.
What's
But
his
before-
Twitter handle? Follow.
And I didn't even know him, and I went to school during this period. I had two
Hey,
roommates.
Bob,
that
I know you
played.
just joined, but we're about to go back on air. Here we go.
What is his Twitter account?
Andy Moore Honda.
Jaxo2B.
This segment is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Wednesday. And now you want to top it off with the crowning achievement. Rick Bozich and Bob Kravitz join me. Gentlemen, how are you?
Fantastic. How are you, man?
No hat today.
No
Hapless
hat
Wednesday.
because I got to run downtown and do an interview in about 15 minutes. So no hat
Didn't
today.
want to mess the hair up.
What hair? It's just coming out in clumps.
Oh, man. Rick Bozich, how are you doing, sir?
I'm good. I'm just following how 131 college football programs are having the best recruiting class in the history of the program, fulfilling every need, and nothing but high character kids who are motivated and hungry to attack the day.
Yeah, it's one of those years, huh?
Special. It's a special year. Well, all kinds of things going on. First of all, we've seen Michael Penix end up out in Washington with Kalen DeBoer and Nick Sheridan as the tight ends coach at Washington, which but good for both of those guys. I think that's great for Michael Penix, especially. Probably gives him the best opportunity to be able to do anything. But Kalen DeBoer knows. I think he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I look. Michael Penix is certainly a risk worth taking. I don't know Washington football real well, which is to say, I don't know it at all. So I don't know who else they have at quarterback, but certainly he's a worthwhile risk, because if he comes back and he plays anything close to the way he did a couple of years ago, it's a great find. And if he doesn't, you've got, I would assume, another quarterback. So I think it's a good move by DeBoer, and it's a good move by Michael.
I just hope Michael Penix has a chance to play one season where he can stay healthy,
yes,
and he's protected by an offensive line that doesn't make him flinch or duck every time he drops back to pass. And, then we'll find out, if he can get back to the way he was during that 2020 season and have the kind of games he had against Penn State and Ohio State when he made people believe that, Indiana football was special. And it all fell apart last year, but a lot of reasons for that. And obviously, initially the word was Central Florida, which is near his hometown, right? That's in Orlando, and he's from Tampa. But Kalen DeBoer and Nick Sheridan makes sense. And it also helps Indiana football some, because now Sheridan's going to get paid, and the buyout that Indiana has to pay him goes down. So they save a little money.
And Tom Allen saved some money off of his contract, right? At $800,000 that he had to give up.
I think so. Yeah. Although I've heard discussion that they could use that and invest it in maybe possibly some other changes.
Mm-hmm.
Other coaches, yeah. But and I was talking about that with Mitchell Paige and Derrick Jackson earlier. Surprised that there has not been other changes, but with the today's college football signing day period, I know you don't want to have a lot of disruptions, but at the same time, are you going to go in right behind that and fire a coach that was down on the recruiting trail helping make the college football day happen?
I mean, that happens all the time. We see it happen all the time. It might not happen tomorrow or the next day, but it happens over the next week or 2 or 3 weeks. And, there might be coaches there that, because of the trickle-down effect, they might get an opportunity somewhere else because another staff makes a coaching change. So I would doubt they bring the entire staff back the same way it was last season.
Well, especially with Walt Bell now being hired, and because that's where a lot of the questions were, obviously, on the offensive side of the ball. The line, shocked if there has not, and if there's not, I'll be more than shocked, a change there when you have the same personnel back and the results are horrible. And there's no reason for me to think that that's going to get better. So that's definitely a position I think that is tenuous at best. Bob?
Yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, when you've got that group and they don't perform, change is definitely in the air, and it wouldn't shock me if they do continue to move forward and with some changes.
I know college basketball. Rick has a piece out at WDRB.com. Make sure you go there. Thinking that Kentucky, Louisville, IU all headed back to the NCAA tournament or the bubble alert, one of the two. None of them are strong. Kentucky coming off of a loss to Notre Dame, Indiana with the loss at Wisconsin after leading by 22, and Louisville having their problems with not just on the court, but with Chris Mack and all that. So those are three teams that usually were always strong, but now they're in a precarious situation.
Yeah, I mean, it started last week with Indiana blowing that 22-point lead at Madison and just withering up and going away in the second half. And then on Friday night, Louisville played at home against DePaul Had a 1-for-19 stretch in the first half, missed 12 straight 3-pointers. And they've already lost 3 games, and 2 of them are the non-NCAA tournament teams, Furman and DePaul. And then Kentucky, which has the most timid schedule in the history of college basketball. They played Duke and then 7 straight cream puffs and went up to Notre Dame and got beat. And now that you do hear a little bit of grumbling about John Calipari. So all 3 teams at this point really none of them have done anything spectacular. I mean, none of them have any like top 25 wins yet.
Hey guys, I'm curious what you guys think. I'm sorry, Jim, it's your show.
No.
But I'm curious what you think about the Crossroads going away.
I'm happy about it. I think Indiana did not gain anything from it. From that standpoint, I mean, it's cool to be able to play Notre Dame because Indiana had always played Notre Dame back in the Bob Knight era, and that was one of those December games, and that was okay. Butler had not risen to what they had become, but I don't know. It's just not enough of a marquee event, and I think there are too many marquee events this day and age for Indiana to be involved in that will help them more, like signing a home and home with Kansas immediately to replace Notre Dame. That is – I was talking about it. Can you imagine the atmospheres in Fog Allen and Simon Scott Assembly Hall for those 2 games? It's going to be nuts.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always been curious, and maybe you can help me here. Why Purdue, who is obviously a top 3, top 5 team, why they like the Crossroads? Why did they? I know Matt Painter wanted to continue on with this event.
I don't know. I can't answer that.
I've always found that kind of curious because, while IU is still the marquee program in the state, the better team, clearly the better program is Purdue.
I think part of it might have been that, for Purdue, it was a chance to get some really great exposure in Indianapolis and be part of an event like that. And remember, the event that preceded that a long time ago was the Big 4 Classic, which was Louisville, Kentucky, Notre Dame, and Indiana when they played it at the Hoosier Dome, the RCA Dome, and Purdue got left out of that. And then they get into this. But I agree with Jim. I mean, for Indiana, to me, it was a lose-lose situation. If they beat Notre Dame or Butler, I think a lot of Indiana fans shrugged like you're supposed to beat those teams. But when they lost, people went crazy. And I know from talking to Tom Crean back when he was here that he was okay with it for a while, but he was not a big advocate of continuing it, in part for that reason.
Right. Okay. Back to your show, Jim.
No, but I mean, I like that. It's sad that it's not better. It would be nice if it was better. But I don't know. It just seemed to run its course. Okay. And then with Indiana not playing Kentucky, I think that adds to it because you didn't have that big game that you were looking forward to. Kansas, well, that's only for 2 years, but that may help alleviate that. But what do they do next? What do they do after that? Obviously, Mike Woodson is trying to up the ante on the schedule. He's talked about trying to get games scheduled in Madison Square Garden. So he's trying, you can tell, wants a more high-profile program, which that's part of what you need in recruiting and all that. I think Indiana's lost some of that. Well, I know they have that higher profile of being the blue blood. They're still a blue blood, but they're hanging on by their morals, their laurels of past. Not the morals, the laurels.
Blood transfusion.
I'm telling you, yeah, they're hanging on, but Mike Woodson knows what that is, and he's trying to get that back. Yeah. And just getting it back is part of the battle. If you're doing it, I think the players will start to come. But then we've got NIL and all this crap and how that's going to change college sports. And that's the worst thing to me is NIL or all these rule changes that have happened at the same time that have changed college sports forever. And for football, I don't know what it's going to be like. I mean, these SEC teams, I'd like to know what Quinn Ewers. I know that he had to. I can't imagine what he received to go to Texas. And it was it Lane Kiffin. I should have had John. I should have had you pull that clip up from yesterday of Lane Kiffin, basically being the only head coach to come out and say, look, we're paying these players. These are paid players, paid athletes. And it's whoever pays the most is going to get them. That's pretty big for a coach to say, Rick.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much that's changed from how much it was in the past. I don't think we are naive enough to think that the top recruits weren't getting paid in the past. We just didn't. We kind of looked the other way and hope the NCAA investigators occasionally turned up something, and they rarely did. Yeah, it's going to cause. I read, I think it was Monday, 100 players on Monday alone went in the portal. 100. Wow. It's. I mean, every time somebody gets a recruit, if you follow that program, somebody who's a backup or thought they were going to be the starter at that position goes in the portal because they think that they'll be recruiting over or they're being pushed aside. So yeah, I think it's going to have to be refined in some way because it's a chaotic system, and it might be great for the players, but I don't think it's good for the fans who follow the game because it used to be in college sports a guy would come and you'd watch him develop and you'd follow his career, and now it's like you don't even know who's on the team from week to week.
Nope,
that is the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say this: has the portal saved a team like Indiana? The portal seems like it might have saved teams like that versus the teams that have the stronger NIL situations going, because sometimes these guys need to find a home. They're not thinking about NIL. They just want to find a good home. And I think the portal may offset this NIL stuff for teams like Indiana.
It could be. It seems like some of the places they've gotten players from, they've gotten a bunch of players from the SEC. And that could be a situation where a guy was a highly ranked recruit and went to an SEC school, and then he got recruited over or pushed aside, and he decides, hey, I'm not going to get to play here, and I'll go somewhere else where I will. They have two guys coming from Ole Miss and one guy coming from Auburn and two or three other things.
Yeah, hey, gentlemen, can I interrupt real quick like I usually do?
Always.
I've got to be downtown in 45 minutes, so and I'm adding absolutely nothing to the discourse. So the Jim and Rick show. I got to roll. I apologize. It's just one of those days.
That's all right.
And of course, I've got to take a little time to work on this.
All right.
Yeah, we gotta make sure that get out, check out the Athletic. Bob's got a story from the Pacers, or they are going through who knows what. They're going through trying to rebuild right in the middle of the season. So that could be fun. But
yeah, they put three guys that are going in the portal, right?
Portal. It's all about the portal and the NIL. I'll have a couple stories tomorrow. Let's see. One is on with the Patriots coming into town. I felt like I needed to relive the fake punt of 2015, quite possibly the worst conceived and executed play in the history of the National Football League. And I can't tell you what I'm working on right now, but I'll have an interesting story later today that's also Pacers related.
Go to the Athletic, Bob Kravitz.
All right, guys. Thanks so much. I'm sorry, Bob.
Thank you, brother.
Right,
appreciate you. That's okay.
Right.
Bob Kravitz with the Athletic joining us here. Make sure you go check out all his work there.
Hey, Jim, I've got that Lane Kiffin clip if you need it now.
Yeah, play that. Run that.
I think people really say it this way, but let's not make a mistake. I mean, we have free agency in college football, and the kids a lot of times go to where they're going to get paid the most. So no one else is saying that maybe, but, the kids say, this is what I'm getting here for NIL, and so what we really have, it is what it is. Free agency has been created in college football. I can go, except you can't lock people into a contract. They can go at any time. So it's a new world that we're in, and sometimes they want to come to you and say, I get this much money if I go there. So this is just a whole new thing to deal with.
He didn't sound too happy. He normally is always Mr. Bubbly, but man, he says, I guess he's thinking, man, we don't have any money here at Ole Miss. He mentioned something that I thought about yesterday, contracts. Is it possible that an NIL provider could have a player sign a contract with them and saying this is void if you leave this school?
I would think so. I mean, I would think so, but I don't know. I would think.
I mean, I'm just wondering because he mentioned no contracts. I'm like, yeah, you know what? It all benefits the players right now. It all benefits them. So I would be surprised to not start seeing some of these big time NFL, like the Quinn Ewers contract, which that guy didn't care because he was more. I think that was an autograph thing. But when you go to an Ohio State and if it's an Ohio State booster and they're paying you $1 million to do a car deal, you're sure as hell don't want to see them in a Texas uniform the next year.
No, you don't want them getting in their truck and driving it down to Austin. You don't want that. No. You're going to grab the keys before they hit the state line, I would think. But I don't know. It's such a new phenomenon in college sports that I think we're just finding out what some of the gaps and loopholes and unintended consequences are. And I'm not even sure how much control the NCAA has over it because the NIL thing is outside of the NCAA's jurisdiction.
Oh yeah, Mark Emmert is basically already just done this, washed his hands. He's like, we're out. We can't. There's no way they can control it. I mean, I keep using this example of Texas with their offer that any offensive lineman on scholarship gets $50,000. Right. Well, that's an inducement. That's a pure inducement because it's a blanket offer to unknown individuals. So. And yet that's not going to stop. So it's going to be what it is. It's college sports I don't know if it's going to be worse because the big teams, the Alabamas, the Ohio States, they still have those resources, but there are teams that have guys. I mean, if this is back in the day when T. Boone Pickens was still alive, Oklahoma State, buddy, they may be the number one team in the country.
Yeah. And I think what you're going to see is, some of the bluer blood programs who've gone on harder times will find out how motivated or dedicated some of their alums are to getting their programs back to where they used to be, whether it's a place like Tennessee, Florida State, USC now with Lincoln Riley. They obviously do seem motivated, but they were used to winning before and not winning the way they used to. And Miami seems to have gotten into the game now. They're not going to bring Mario Cristobal and the athletic director from Clemson down there not to become a player in this kind of stuff. So, yeah, it's an arms race. It's always been an arms race, but now this is a new level to the arms race of we have to find, boosters and supporters who are willing to take care of our players.
Getting back to basketball, and your piece you had out about Louisville, Kentucky, and IU. Potentially bubble. They are all potential bubble teams. Indiana losing that game to Wisconsin. That man, after with the streak and all that, and having that 22-point lead, that had to. I don't know what that had to do to a team, but it surely showed with Xavier Johnson and his frustration in that second half and how he started to play. But they have to recover from that half. I mean, that letdown. That's a mental butt whipping.
Yeah, I mean, they need to beat Notre Dame Saturday. It's the last chance they have it'd be their best non-conference win because I think Notre Dame's got a better computer ranking than St. John's. Xavier Johnson showed in the first half how good he can be and how good Indiana can be when he plays well. He distributed the ball. He was aggressive and scored. But in the second half, he took 10 shots, which is too many. He's not really shouldn't be a high volume shooter. And I don't remember Kopp and Stewart really getting many shots at all until the very end of the game when they were trying to get some threes to catch up. And what's difficult for Indiana is they should have and could have won both of those games, Syracuse and Wisconsin, and didn't. And then Syracuse has gone on since then and suffered some bad losses. They got beat by Georgetown and somebody else. And then Wisconsin got blown out by Ohio State in the next game. So, they need to beat Notre Dame. If they don't beat Notre Dame, I think they're going to have a winning. They're going to have to go at least 11-9 in the Big Ten to make the tournament.
And that's a tough ask. The Big Ten is I think a little deeper than people think as far as those middle teams.
Right. Not as strong at the top because Michigan's not as good as we thought they were going to be. And there's one other. Illinois struggled a little bit.
And Purdue's already shown that they've gotten
Purdue's
beat,
good.
and they nearly got beat by North Carolina State.
Right. But Minnesota looks better. I think everybody thought Minnesota was going to be the worst team in the league and a guaranteed win, for a lot of teams, and they're not. And Iowa's a little bit better than people thought they were going to be. And, it's Wisconsin. Obviously, Indiana couldn't beat them up there. That's a lost opportunity. So we're going to find out. They need to beat Notre Dame. Notre Dame's 4-4, and their only good win is against Kentucky, and they've had great success against Notre Dame and some lucky breaks in the Crossroads Classic. So you wonder whether this is Notre Dame's chance to get them.
I was trying to find how far down Indiana dropped into Ken Palm. There they are.
They've gone up, haven't they?
Yes. I'm like, wait a minute. Please explain this to me. They win and they drop. They lose and they rise. It's a crazy deal. They're 26th in the Ken Palm now. That's why I couldn't find them. I was looking below.
Numbers are really good. I looked yesterday. They're the number one team in the country for effective defensive field goal percentage, which means how you guard the 2 and the 3, which is impressive. But offensively is where they have to get better, and their turnover percentage is outrageous. And if they don't, I think they're turning it over more than 21% of their possessions. And if they do that in the Big Ten, that's not going to work.
Yeah, and it's come from different places. I know one game, Race and Trace had 13 between them, which can't happen. That was in a game. I forget they were playing against a team with a zone. The zone. Yep, the zone. But Xavier Johnson has had a propensity to do that, and then the last game he comes back and is back in his head. But Woody is trying to get these. You got a lot of different faces that never played together too, that they're still trying to,
right,
I think, get in sync. But Parker Stewart is a guy that I think needs to find more shots. He's the best shooter they have, but he doesn't get many shots off during games.
What do you think of the idea? I've had some people talk to me about this, of making a change in the starting lineup, because Kopp and Stewart are somewhat similar in their skill set, both being shooters, of starting Bates or starting somebody else at the other guard spot and bringing Stewart off the bench. That he and Kopp, what they do is both too similar, and they need another guy on the team who can sort of drive the ball.
I agree. They've got to have more movement because there doesn't seem to be a lot of that, and there's not enough of getting open shots for guys. I don't know how the offense is set, but they don't seem like they're working to get open shots. It's like if it happens, or if they can get the ball inside, but there doesn't seem to be a great attempt to get open perimeter shots. And I think that's someplace where they need to change, and having someone that could do what you're talking about may open that up. Exactly.
Well, I guess the way I look at it is that Johnson is the only guy among the ball handlers in the lineup, starting lineup for sure, who can beat his man off the dribble and then draw a double team and throw it out to a shooter or dump it off to one of the inside guys. And if you have two guys that can attack, I think that would help. But Woodson's the coach. He sees what is going on at practice. I'm sure he has a reason for doing it the way he does. But I always think the really good teams, they have dudes who can handle the ball. And when you get late in the shot clock, they can make a play, whether it's they can make a play for themselves by getting to the rim or getting past their guy and getting a mid-range shot, or they can beat their guy and draw another defender and get somebody else a good shot. And I've said this from the very beginning that ever since Indiana hasn't had a guy like that since Yogi Ferrell. And when they had Yogi Ferrell and Victor Oladipo, that's when you're really good, because you got a guy out there that the defense always has to be concerned with, like, how is he going to beat me? How is he going to attack me? And I don't think they're defenses don't have to game plan to stop Parker Stewart or Miller Kopp because they know what they're going to do. They've got Kopp more than Stewart. I mean, Kopp, I will give him credit. He does try and drive the ball some, and he does, take that 12-footer or 13-footer on the baseline. But Stewart basically is just a catch and shoot. How many free throws has he shot this year? It's got to be less than – it might be less than 5, or it's definitely less than 10.
It's a good question. I don't have his stats pulled up.
I can look it up.
Stats.
But he's been great shooting the three, but you got to be able to contribute a little bit more than that, in my opinion.
Yeah, now one shocker, Trace Jackson Davis has done a great job at the free throw line of late, which has been a positive sign because he was poor in that last year. But I think you're right.
Parker Stewart has shot 3 free throws in 10 games.
That's almost crazy.
2 for 3. That's what he is. So, that tells defenses you don't have to play this guy to drive. He's not going to drive. He's not going to try and force the action. He is just going to stay outside and shoot the 3. And he's great at doing that, but that's too one-dimensional.
And one of the best games he had, I can't remember who it was against, but it's where he stepped up, and it was his first 2-point shot that I think I've seen him take this year. And he hit it, and then he starts hitting some more threes that game, but just a little movement. I think if he would get more movement like Miller Kopp, that it would just benefit his game so much.
He's 2 for 10. 2 for 10 on 2-point shots.
Yeah, I don't remember him taking 10. That's for damn sure. They must have been feet on the line or something. But yeah, he's got to open his game up a little more, and that will open the entire offense because I just don't see. Like I said, it doesn't seem like the open threes are coming easily. But Indiana is certainly getting them off, taking 20 per game thereabouts.
Yeah, they've improved the 3-point shooting. They've improved the free throw shooting. And I think if you look at what Woodson and his staff have done in recruiting, they know that. I mean, they got one of the better point guards in the country coming in next year. They've got CJ Gunn coming in. The next year's class, which has already got 2 commitments, they've got – what do they got? They got 2 guards. They get it that it's a guards game, and they get it that you have to have guards who are tough to guard. They're making this team – the best it can be out of what they have to work with, because there aren't, a lot of those kind of guys around. It's a limited supply, but I don't know. It still comes in part. It might still come down to whether Rob Finney or Christian Lander can ever figure it out, because they have that skill set. They should have that skill set as point guards to be guys who are good enough ball handlers and quick enough that they can get past their man. And you beat your man at the point, of attack, and then you create problems for the defense because they have to decide how are they going to stop you from doing what you want to do. And that's Indiana needs more guys who can attack off the dribble.
Yeah, after the Notre Dame game, Indiana has a couple of non-cons, and then it's back to the Big Ten, and the Big Ten is going to be a grind, especially when these guys get on the road. Yeah, it's going to be a tough road to hoe for them to get back to the NCAA tournament. It's not a sure thing. I know a lot of people think that it is, but not in this league. It's going to be a dogfight, I think, for those 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th place teams in the Big Ten.
For sure.
It's going to be an absolute fist fight every night for those teams, and Indiana is one of those teams.
They need to win a road game. I mean, let's be honest, over the last few years, they've not been very good on the road. And this year, their 2 ugly meltdowns have both been on the road. And I think for their own confidence and their own mentality, they have to prove to themselves they can win a road game. And probably a tough road game to sort of get over that hump. And then they could possibly take off. But that's what good teams do. They go on the road and win. And in Indiana this year, their 2 most head-scratching performances have been those road games.
Absolutely. I was looking at just the free throws. I'm enamored by that to see
2 for 3.
Not only that, but
how many minutes he's played? He's played a lot of minutes. He's played 10 games. He shot 3 free throws. That means he shot less than 1 every 3 games.
That is, as a guard, that is one of the most amazing stats that I've ever seen. Michael Durr, who barely plays, has shot 4 free throws, and he's hit all 4 of them. Even Christian Lander has gotten 8 free throws, hit 6. But, wow, that is a shocking number, man. That just jumps out at you. So what's up next for you?
Well, today's signing day, so we'll be following. Kentucky's got a top 15 class. Indiana has a chance, I think, to have a top 20 class, top 25 for sure.
Top 20, I think 19 maybe.
Which
is shocking after the season they had.
Yeah,
to keep these guys, they've kept almost all of them.
Right, and they've added a few. Didn't they get a tight end who was going to go to Tennessee this week? And
flip to Tennessee, and then the transfer market has been very good on the defensive line front, especially for them.
I saw they added a guy from California, today. And then Louisville, obviously, also I think Scott Satterfield's going to talk today. And then basketball-wise, Saturday I won't be at the Crossroads Classic. I've got Louisville is at Western Kentucky, and that's a big deal. They only go to Diddle Arena maybe once a decade, and it'll be packed for Western. It's always a big deal when they can get Louisville to come play there in their home arena. And after the tornado situation, which most of the conversation has been about Mayfield and a little bit about Dawson Springs, but Bowling Green was also hit too. It'll be I think they're going to have some kind of a situation where they're going to want people to bring supplies or different things for the game. And I'm sure it'll be an emotional afternoon leading up to the game.
Yeah, my daughter grew up in Madisonville, Kentucky, and so right down there in that area, just north of where that thing came through. So devastating for those folks down there, and then have to try to carry on your life. And December is Christmas and all that. Thoughts and prayers out to all of those people. But well, good luck down there, man, and Bowling Green. Have fun, and let's see. No, next week's Christmas, so I'll wish you Merry Christmas next week. But have a great week. Appreciate you so much.
All right, man. Thanks,
Jim. The great Rick Bozich from WDRB.com. Make sure you go there and follow him for his great content on just everything, college basketball, college football, but nationally and not just locally. Hey, we've got more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. We're back with it right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Whether it's a celebration.
All right, you'll have about 10 minutes when we come back.
That's lovely. Go make some breakfast. Oh, there's another Carter Smith.
Yep, offensive lineman from Ohio.
Yeah, big 6'6" boy. Big 6'6", 271, healthy boy. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Damn. Only one. Omar Cooper's not on there yet.
That's a big one.
Well, yeah, it is.
Isn't he going to room with like CJ Gunn or something? Isn't that his deal? They're gonna
maybe because they go to school
like
together.
Yeah, I think I remember him saying that.
I may have to do a show with both of them.
Yeah. Maybe soon.
Omar and CJ.
It has been a long week already, and it's only Wednesday.
Oh,
Not
he
for
texted
this.
me.
This stuff isn't what feels long. the other stuff I've been taking care of after this. One thing that I do like, being full-time in iHeart makes this more enjoyable because it doesn't feel like, I don't know, it feels more like an enjoyable experience than a job. You know what I mean?
What's that?
Doing this feels more fun than, I mean, I enjoy my full-time job now, obviously, but like that's more of a full-time job. This is fun, even though it is a job. You know what I mean?
Good. That's how it should be.
All right, we're back in about 25 seconds.
Network. TheHoosier.com is where you'll find complete coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, as well as coverage of the Big Ten. Simply go to TheHoosier.com and sign up. It's free. You can also catch Indiana Sports Beat Radio there each day at your convenience, or you can find it any place you podcast or on this station each weekday. If we're not on the station where you live, we should be. Ask for Indiana Sports Beat Radio.
This segment is brought to you by RE/MAX Advanced Realty, Indy Home Pros team by Cheryl Sizemore. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat, on this Wednesday, college football signing day. Press conference today at 2 o'clock for Indiana. We'll be out there for that. And several others will be having them today as well. Quite certain of that, whomever you might follow. Indiana has like 21, I think, right now I counted. Carter Smith, the most recent, from Liberty High School in Ohio, an offensive tackle. Big 6'6", 275, healthy boy. 3-star lineman. So things surprisingly going well. Now, one name that I have not seen on that list yet is Omar Cooper. There's Sean Shivers. He's a transfer, I believe, right?
Yeah, Sean Shivers is transfer out of Auburn.
Yeah, he shouldn't be listed here. But
do they not include that stuff in the classes anymore?
I don't think so. You shouldn't, because they're not freshmen.
It may be accounted for your entire class, though. I'm not sure, but
it could. 4-star Josh Henderson, running back, 6 foot, 200-pound running back from North Carolina. That's a good get. So Indiana, I'll see what they can do with that. Sean Shivers, like I just mentioned, another 4-star from Auburn, originally from Hollywood, Florida. So some good gets. No, I don't think there's anything to be worried about. But we'll see. The Truth jumped on, says hello. Hope you guys are having a great day. What's it like for you not having anything going on this week except for the college football signing day? No games during the week. Uh-oh. Cooper just announced he's not signing Omar Cooper until he has a chance to meet Coach Bell, which will be February at the earliest. Now, that would be a bad turn of events for Indiana. But what that does now is that gives all these other teams 3 more months to recruit Omar Cooper. So, it looks like that Omar Cooper is not going to sign early, if that is the case. So that's a little downer on this signing day. I'm trying to look up and see if I can find that myself on social media. He is the big name that Yeah, had not. He's committed to Indiana. That's his pinned tweet from July.
What about offensive lineman DJ Moore from Fort Wayne?
Where
Is he
did
signed yet?
he say that? He didn't say that on his Twitter. So, and 2 days ago, he's retweeting people signing their national letter of intent. He's retweeting all of their stuff that are signing to IU. So
Yeah, I'm looking too, and I'm not seeing anything. Unless it was on television, obviously. Or maybe one of the coaches came out and said something. Obviously, there's no way for us to know that, but someone else, maybe that's what Ross saw.
Where did that, Ross, I have to ask you, where did that come from? If you saw that, where? Because I'm not seeing it, at least not on his personal Twitter. As we look for it. But you know what? At the end of the day, it is what it is. If he signs, he signs. If he doesn't, he doesn't. Right now, you can't do anything about that. Ross mentioning that it seems odd that Bell would not have reached out yet. I agree with that. I know he had to hit the road recruiting as soon as he got here, but probably could have taken an hour and gone down a list of phone calls to make and assure them how important they were to the program, and then go out and recruit. I don't understand not reaching out if that's the case. So, yeah, DJ Moore is on there. But
I just looked. It looks like that Omar Cooper is the last one they're expecting for today, or was originally expecting. If that's if he ends up postponing his announcement or his signing.
Yeah, we'll have to reach out to him and see. So that
I'm
means
curious with him being a wide receiver, if he ever talked with former commit Josh Hoover, and if that has anything to do with his questioning or potential questioning, since we don't necessarily know what's going on.
Yeah, I'm going to text him right now. As a matter of fact. And see if I can get a response back. It's amazing today's technology, right? That you can actually do that.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. Doesn't mean that they've lost him, but he wants to know more about the OC, and I can't say that I blame him. You know, you're making a decision here. You want to make the right decision. But the one thing, again, about the transfer portal, it has taken a lot of that away. Before, when you made that decision, it was like, I'm screwed. I'm here for 4 years, or I got to sit out a year. Well, you don't have to do that anymore. So we'll see what we get back to him. No, I believe that it makes sense. Your future is very important, especially if your talent level is that can go on. It's I forget who. I think it's Charlie Miller who says it's not a 4-year decision, it's a 40-year decision. And it is. Your life is going to be structured and changed by where you go to college, what you excel at, your successes, your failures, the paths you end up on. So we'll see. How much time we got left, John? Wrap it up. Perfect. Well, man, it has been another great day, but we've got a lot more coming. We will have updates throughout the day. If Omar Cooper signs, we will have that. There will be at the press conference for Indiana today. That will be coming up later. We'll have all that tweeted out. Make sure you go to thehoosier.com. They have a running updated board with the players on there. The most recent one I see right now is Carter Smith, the offensive lineman from Ohio. They may have everybody except Omar Cooper. We'll see. Well, man, it's been another great one. Like I said, a big thanks to Derrick Jackson. Can't thank him enough as always. Big thanks to Rick Bozich and Bob Kravitz. Our good friends, and my good friend Mitchell Paige. Forgot about him slipping on there. Our good buddy there as well. And John, the producer, of course. Most importantly, thanks to you guys. Without you, we've got no reason to be here. Tomorrow, we're back with plenty more. Another loaded show. Chris Denari, Matt Taylor, Kyle Nedenrip, can go on, Dustin Schutte, and we'll have all the wrap up from the college football signing day. Until then, for everybody, for John, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.